How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Dead or Alive 5, the Online Warrior, with me, TheMrDarkPhoenix. So you may have noticed things sound a little bit differently, and I have the perfect explanation for that. I finally got a Snowball Ice USB microphone. So now I'm finally able to deliver the Online Warrior series with not only good quality HD visuals, but also HD quality sound as well. And I hope you guys are really excited for that, because I'm really excited for that. I've heard myself on this a couple of times, and I'm really excited that it sounds so great. Sometimes I don't really feel much of a difference, but if you could let me know how it sounds, if it sounds better, then I will gladly say that. It does sound a little better, but here we are back with another episode of my teaching for Dead or Alive 5. It's really one of my favorite fighting games out there right now, and I'm a really good player of the game, but that's not what this series is about. It's mostly about my journey through the game and what I know my weaknesses are, and what I know your weaknesses are as the viewers who are watching this. So here I'm going up against, this was like player matches I found with some good people that I was playing with. She went with Kasumi, I'm going with Elliot, trying to get an Elliot game up a little bit. As you can see, I'm falling for minimal stuff here because I didn't block. And that mainly goes with any character that you use. If you don't have good patience and you don't block, then really you're not really going to get far with said character. But something I wanted to tackle in this episode, a really big topic for me, for you guys. You can't see, but I have a yellow Sinestro Corpse Ring, which insinuates fear, because that's what we're going to be talking about in this episode, is what I know you're afraid of. And I know you're afraid that when you counter wrong, I know you're afraid that you have to keep doing it, and you keep doing it, and you keep getting punished, and I know that you're afraid that because you keep getting it wrong, that racks your nerves, and because you didn't hit your correct combo right, or that stuff, or because you feel like your opponent's in your head because he keeps blocking or guessing your counters or everything else wrong. And so that's basically what I want to talk about also, because my rule with countering was always, if you miss two, then just go back to doing what you can, because you can't fight what you don't know. Like in that match, I almost had it, but I lost it due to nerves. Nerves is also something I know I'm afraid of, which I know some of you are afraid of as well, because you're almost going to win, and it's like your opponent's last health jitter, as I call it, and you know, you feel like that last bit of health, all you have to do is breathe on them, all you have to do is just do anything, and you're thinking 1,000 things at once, and that's why you wind up either not winning or making a mistake. It's because you're so eager to get them to basically, you know, die, pretty much, because they are your opponent. You're so eager to get that win that you still have to be able, that's what separates most players from other players, that they think through the entire match without having to, you know, basically, you know how they say it's not over until your opponent, until the little thing says KO, and that's pretty much what it should be taken for any game. You know, you haven't won until your opponent's held at 0 or until yours is 0, but that's mainly what I want to talk about for this and for other things. Just mainly here I do good on my spacing of sorts, and then I go in at a weak spot and I take this. Now it's tied, and that's another thing that goes into the fear category, is when you're even. I know you're definitely afraid of that, because you're evenly matched. It can, let's say it's like the final one, you each won one. This is your final match to decide whether you're going home, you're going to the losers bracket. If you're already in the losers bracket in the tournament, this is what separates you from going home. So this is where all the nerves come in, and how everything has to just basically, like, I know it's gonna be a lot coming from me because I still have to learn this, but you just have to be calm all the way through. Like at this point, I'm really calm. I'm backing up. I'm just spacing and blocking and waiting for my right moment, and then I find it, and that's how I take this. And I'm learning that little by little. I'm slowly getting better at learning that. Elliot still needs some work, but I'm still mainly confident in my Milla and my Kokoro. So, but like I said, it doesn't really. You really have to find your center. You have to find what you need to calm down, what you do. Like, players listen to music, or they just like have this stone face and they just concentrate all the way through. And you know, sometimes in my head I think, you know, if it was actually me up there, because I like, even though it's a fighting game, I like to feel like I think that me and my main characters are one. I'm representing them on the outside, they're representing me on the game. So I feel that, you know, if it was me, you know I wouldn't want to get hit. I know I would be thinking smarter and blocking and doing all of that. So what I do sometimes, I just go into training mode and I have the computer do a certain amount of strings, like punch, punch, low kick, punch, 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 and I just practice blocking. I just, you know, I use one hand and I practice with that. And I see that does have a lot of good results, and I think you guys should try it as well, just in case. And here we go I'm up against a Hitomi versus Milla, my Milla actually, versus a Hitomi. Two characters that I think fight really ironically similar. I would like to see a cutscene or like a graphic of them fighting. And I'm just doing what I have to do. Doing something, I'm going for throws now. Throws can really help if your opponent's blocking. That's why you don't really block a lot. But, you know, I'm just, you know, it's like blocking for my opponent is really easy. And I could have taken that if I would have just, you know, stayed back and been patient. But I took that because I didn't know what I was going to do. So, but we start this match again. And, you know, I get some really good hits in. I do one of her grapples, but I missed it. But it's fine. We can rock with that for now. But it's really just what it really depends on for you as the player, and just depends on your rhythm. DOA is a game that's based on, you know, all that, and I take that with this bread and butter here for good old Milla. So I take that match pretty convincingly. But I still want to know about what you guys are having trouble with, or what you guys would like me to talk about. So if you want to leave a comment on this video saying, you know, what you need help with, or what you feel like you need me to talk about, or what you need me to do, it's all good in that department. Because, and see, this here, I'm learning a lot more with Milla as I go along, and you know, I'm practicing her strings and everything else. I know there's still something else I need to work on with her, but like I said, this series is a learning experience for both me and for you guys. Whether you're experienced, whether you're a noob, I still feel like, you know, we all have something to learn. And I hope that if you get even the smallest thing from what I'm doing here, then that would be great, because this isn't about me winning all the time. This isn't about me winning, or this isn't about me, like, you know, winning every time. It's about me winning and losing, because in the end, that's what we do. We're fighters, you know, win or lose, you always take something from the experience that you've learned from the battle. So that's basically what I want to portray in this series, and I'm really glad that I've been able to do this so far. And I take that because of my opponent's lack of patience. And you know, when I do it, it's what I see in myself, and I say, wow, I've been doing that. That's really easy to get through. That's really easy to counter. When my opponent has really great defense, it's like, it's so much easier when someone else does it versus when you do it. So that's why it's always like, you know, you always have to block when you can and do all of that. But I'm learning, you know, so I really can't say much about that. But the first match picked Kokoro, so I decided to do it too, even though I think I talked about mirror matches, and now I'll bring it up again. But talk about that in the next episode. Also, mirror matches are a double-edged sword of sorts for me. It's a great way to see how well you both know a character, but at the same time, if you use the same character, you know exactly what to expect. And that's where you come in as the player. You play her differently than anybody else, or you do things that your opponent doesn't know about. And in one respect, you can teach each other things that you can use against them, or you can be defeated by something you didn't even know that you can do. So mirror matches for me are like a double-edged sword in one respect, and I think I'm the one in the kimono. Yeah, I think I'm the one in the kimono in the sandals. My opponent's in the geisha gear, so that's me right there with the geisha gear and the kimono. And you know, I'm doing better with my being patient and my blocking, and just going back and just waiting for the right chance to strike, and waiting for just something to be like, hey, my opponent is doing a lot of stuff, let me just wait and see how I can do everything else. Like right here, I did a little too much countering, and just basically took the L like that, because I was being way too I was all over the place. And you know, we had this, and so I did that pretty good, bread and butter. Could have done more, but knocked her off the stage. And I countered that because I saw that coming. And so I'm starting to do the thing where I back up a little bit. I'm not going to be doing that a lot. I just want to practice it. So just because I want to... Patience is something that's really easy to... It's really easy to say that you're going to do, but then when you actually are in the match, your adrenaline's pumping, and you're just smack dab in the middle of all this action, all this fighting, and you're like, I gotta get in there, I gotta beat him, I gotta do this, I have to do all that. But I'm just going to tell you guys that that's not how you have to go about it. You have to go about patience as you have to, you can't have all of your thoughts in a door. You can't have a million thoughts in a door that can fit oh so many things. You have to have everything coming in smoothly, and you have to just wait it out, and you have to think before you act. Because, being too reckless, especially in a game like this where you can counter, you get predictable, and then that's when the pain really starts to happen. When you start becoming predictable to your opponent, and then they start punishing you, and then you start, losing health and losing all of this, and like that, countering little stuff like that or blocking little stuff like that is what caused me to lose this match right here. And so now I'm just in my head, I'm just like, damn, this is, make or break. Like, I really gotta, step up and just, do my combos, be patient, and just wait and do a whole bunch of stuff. And I do it here, get a little bit of good combos in, and I'm just going back and forth. I'm just thinking, like, I use music. I listen to music when I play, just because it's a really great way for me to, gather my thoughts and be calm. And here I countered that, and then, it's down to the wire, like I said, and just, I countered too much, and, but I still wound up taking it from that one kick. And countering too much can be a good thing, or it can be a bad thing. You can use it to fake your opponent out, or you can just use it for your own little dark needs, for tricking your opponent into thinking you're going to do something else when you're not. So, if anything, like I said, I'd go with the two counter rule. If you counter twice and you don't make it, just stick to blocking and go back to your battle plan. Counters are make or break, but it's like a parry in third strike. You're not going to attempt to do a parry every time since the window is so thin. Don't try and do a counter if you don't know what your opponent's going to do. And, if you think they're going to do something, then do it. But if not, then don't depend on them to think for you, because don't depend on them to make a mistake if you know they're not. That's pretty much how I can sum that up. Don't hope that they make the mistake, because if you're going to go up against somebody that, knows that you know what they're going to do, then they're going to do the exact opposite. You're always going to counter low, then they're not going to do low attacks, they're going to do medium or high, and then finish it off with something like that. So that's pretty much all I can say about that, is don't always depend on your opponent to make mistakes. Just pray on the ones that you know that they're going to do. Blocking or countering wrong or anything like that. Because at the end of the day, it's all, someone's got to lose and someone's got to win. So like that. I knew that kick was coming. That's when you counter, when you know what's going to come at you. Not depending on, not guessing. Guessing, yes, but not like guessing so much that it just becomes like, your opponent's like, what are you doing? Like, I'm gonna figure this out. Like you attempt to figure me out, and then bad stuff's gonna happen from there. And so that's pretty much one lesson from here among many that we're gonna talk about here on the Dead or Alive 5 Online Warrior. And here I feel so much better about myself because I'm being patient, I'm doing all this. My opponent did a lot of good blocking and got me into the wall, and I'm really just in awe of people that can just, make blocking seem so flawless, seem so just wow. And even like from that, it's like I could, this is like last health trigger. You can use that to your advantage if I would have known how to do it better. But it's all learning. It's not all like, oh, I can master this. It's like it's all, going with the flow and going with what you know and how everything else goes. But here it's just, you just have to mix your opponent up. You have to mix it up and just have to be patient like I'm doing here, and just trying to fake out and do some critical stuns, countering everything. So we have a little bit of a health disadvantage here for me, because when I go back, when you go back, you always, you do great the first two rounds, and then you get too overexcited, if that makes sense. you're like, oh, I got this. I've been doing so good. I can let a match go, and then one match turns into two, and then before you know it, it's tied, 2 matches to 2, and you're just like, what happened? Where did my momentum go? Where did my adrenaline go? When you start to lose, that's when your adrenaline goes down. That's why it's always good to keep everything calm and keep everything well paced for that. Because then, you're going to be losing, and then you're going to be wondering what's happening. And here, it's really down to the wire. I really got nervous at this point. And, that's how I wound up losing, because I really just thought too much, and I didn't do enough with my patience, and that's why I wound up losing that match. But it's like I said, it's like a learning experience. It's not, I'm going to say I'm perfect at the game, and we're always going to be here. So I used to be typing. I do that sometimes. I check my achievements, or I do other stuff. But like I said, this episode has been about your fears and what we're doing, what I'm doing wrong, and what I think you're doing wrong. I'm not going to say we, because I don't know what you're doing. But I would love to know, so I can know for future reference for future episodes. So with this, I'm going to end this episode, and I'm going to catch you guys later on another episode of The Online Warrior with Mr. Dark Phoenix. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe.